All right, let's see. We hit the Let's Go Live button. It's calculating. All right, looks like it's working. Perfect. All right, cool. Well, welcome. Good to see you guys. I want to say thank you for all the feedback and everything you guys have done too. You guys have been awesome. So today we got 4 things that we're going to go over. We're going to talk about some of the claims that GFI and some of their agents have been making about the WFG ownership program, because we're still trying to discover what exactly is Eric's dispute with what's going on. A lot of the things that people don't really get a chance to see, and the reason why that's important is because it's in the court documents. So we'll look at some of that as well. And then there was a WFG Heritage Program announcement. We'll talk a little bit about that. I did get a picture of the EMD contract, so we'll kind of look at that together. And then there's been some updates in Eric's case around the temporary restraining order, which we'll talk about as well. And so those are the 4 main points that we want to get into. And the reason why this particular video is going to be really important is because we're trying to determine, or at least I am, in this discovery, and why we're doing these videos is because there's a lot of things that are being said that feel a lot like propaganda. Obviously on one side, the other side's not saying a whole lot of anything, and that's probably because they're just going to let the courts hear it out. So, but the question that keeps coming to my mind is Eric doing this because he truly is upset with what's going on with WFG and some of these programs, or is it purely because he wants to take care of his agents, or is it purely because he just wants to become a billionaire? And I don't really know. So that's what we're trying to figure out, or maybe it's a combination of the two. So let's dive into some of these documents and see if we can find out some more information. So this first one that I'm going to bring up, we're going to go back a little bit. I don't know if you guys have watched all of the court videos, but again, the reason why this is important is because it's in the court documents. It's a lot of their claims for why Eric and GFI is doing what they're doing. So if we look through this, and I'm going to kind of scroll down, you can find this one. This one is the Eric versus World Financial Group. So you can go back and see my video if you want to see this full one. But basically in the introduction, as Eric is explaining what's going on, he says that WFG had created a toxic environment of distrust, demoting, suspending, and terminating agents without notice or cause, withholding commissions, reducing agents' compensation without notice, or arbitrarily and improperly offsetting agents against agents' earnings. He also kind of talked about his process with wanting to transfer his code. When he was resigning from the company, you can usually either purchase it or transfer it to a spouse. They did not let him do that, I think because they were trying to figure out what exactly was going on, and they offered him a $20 million contract to stay on with WFG in him wanting to leave, and he declined that. So he then said that he went to try to sell his business like they had, like other predecessors had done, like Rob Day, and apparently he wasn't really able to do that. WFG said that he couldn't. So Todd basically said, it's a free country. If you don't like it here, you can leave any time. And again, here's the $20 million contract that they offered him when he was terminated. It also talks a little bit about some of the restraining order and kind of what was going on there, that WFG wrongfully terminated his contract, that they were interfering with his business, and it's about the unfair competition against him. So all of this keeps coming up in the court documents. The next one that we're going to look at is going to be the WFG's basically response to that, where it's brought up in the responses of people who are testifying. So part of the claims that they were making is that, this is WFG speaking here, is that Olson is spreading lies to convince those insurance agents to join a company recently formed by Olson called GFI, and then encouraging those agents to recruit even more WFG agents to join GFI while under contract with WFG. So that's why we're trying to figure out what is real and what the lies are. And if you come down to, sorry, we're going to scroll through a bunch of this because we don't need to go through it again in today's, but if we come down to Bosley's testimony, if you got a chance to watch that video, he kind of refers to some of these things. So again, it's not just what Olson is claiming in the lawsuits, but it's also the information that's going around as they're working on recruiting WFG agents. So in Bosley's testimony, he's talking about when he was invited in to talk to Olson, they told him to sign an NDA, they told him to shut off his phone, and then Olson spewed a number of false statements about WFG, including that Bosley's family would be left without an income stream if he suddenly died. So that's important, and it's referring to this particular one that we're going to talk about today. And he kind of goes through more information of what's going on. He was offered position on the board. He was offered to go direct to the company. He was offered greater compensation that Thali was going. And so there were supposedly false statements that when he checked into those things were no longer accurate. And so we're continuing to figure out where are the lies, where are the truths, what's actually going on, and kind of determining that. So let's get into what Cofield actually posted, and I'll bring that up. With social media is that, and to Cofield's credit, he did pull this down, so I don't know if he found out some different information and then realized that this was inaccurate. I don't know what happened on that side. Cofield, if you want to message me about that, that's fine too. But basically, he was saying that Joanna, whose husband Joey, and they were great. I watched some of Joey's videos. He was excellent in training, just upbeat kind of guy. He was pretty awesome. I didn't know him like personally. Never got a chance to meet him, but I did see some of his videos. He was good at posting that kind of stuff. And so he apparently was in the business for about 25 years. He had passed away, unfortunately. And Olson, DaJuan was basically saying that she didn't get anything from it. No inheritance, no ownership. Now, obviously, WFG is changing some of their heritage program stuff. So this could be partially true and partially inaccurate. I don't know. Maybe they wanted something different other than what's in the contracts. But whatever it is, we're going to look at what Joanna actually has to say about the entire thing. And I got a chance to talk to her for 25, 30 minutes last night. She was such a sweetheart. And so I asked her for permission to kind of share her story and go through some of this. And as soon as I posted the original poster, it was interesting that some people had reached out to me and they were saying that this story was all a lie and it was fabricated. And so it was so weird to hear that. But when I talked to her, it seemed really genuine. So I want to pull that video up and have you guys watch it. Now, I did take the liberty of
Actually, when Joey passed away, I made a phone call to home office because at this time she's trying to figure out how do I pay bills? This is a man that took care of his wife and his family. To be honest, she didn't even know how to write a check. And notified Susan Davies of what was going on, what had happened to Joey, and immediately there was no pause.
Numb. I couldn't remember. I couldn't even, Dad, I couldn't even remember. I went to Tammy. I said, Tammy, am I going to be okay? Did Joey get us insurance, right? Really, Joey was already at a point where he was now just chilled in the business. And then I let my license, I let it go. Because I was no longer able to service clients, if that makes sense. So I just had to let mine lapse. I couldn't remember our assets. I couldn't remember my annuities, my life insurance. I didn't even remember if I would still benefit as a beneficiary from WFG from Joey's clients, right? Does everything stop? What happens, right? Because he's gone.
Once he passed away, what did you do?
All I knew is that Tammy stepped in and coordinated everything to help me because now it's a new life. It was always the Joey and Joanna show. I mean, people knew us that in WFG, that's who we were. And so now it's my new life and thinking, okay, Does everything stop? What happens, right?
Joanna
Yeah.
received the trails and renewals from Joey's business to the
Mm.
point, Dan, that she didn't know why this money was coming in.
It was coming in. It was.
But what I can honestly say, right, her husband took care of her, and so did WFG. The
Mm.
commission says, "Oh my God, I'm so afraid this money's coming in and it keeps coming in." I said,
You remember when I
"No,
thought they were going to take it away? I was like, oh my God, when they find out Joey has passed away, are they going to take my money too?
yeah."
And Tammy, she said, Joanna, you just need to shut up right now and just I got it. And I don't,
Have they taken it away from you yet?
no, I keep getting it. So what I did, Dan, this is funny because I was scared. I was like, okay, I'm not going to, I even thought, don't say nothing. What is all this money coming in? What is this? Right?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh gosh.
And then Dan goes on to actually show her what was in that slide that I showed you originally that Cofield had posted, and he gets her reaction. So the way that the interview laid out was that part was first. He kind of asked her what had happened, and she kind of went through her story. It's kind of longer than that. I kind of just put the main pieces together. And then he goes on to show her the actual clip, and you can kind of see her response to that as we pull that one up next. And which I thought was kind of, I
So I
felt
saw
like
a
it was
post
genuine.
yesterday, and I know how WFG, I've been in WFG for 25 years, and I know WFG has always supported its leaders. And when I saw the post, I was disturbed, and I knew that wasn't the real story. So that's why I wanted to have a call with you today. So I'm going to show you the post. How do you feel about that?
This is quite disturbing. Dan, I am, first of all, I'll say this, whoever DaJuan Cofield is, to post something like this without my permission and not even having the facts, and to say something like this is that I had to prove something like this is not true. If he wanted to know, he could have, I don't know him, he could have asked. Wow. Is this circulating right now?
It's all over the internet.
Are you serious? What's the intent of this? Joey worked hard, Dan, in this business. And I'm forever grateful for WFG. When I didn't know what was happening and Tammy made calls, let me tell you what even Susan Davies and Bill Bradley did for me. Hold on, I'm sorry. When I didn't know what was happening, what my new life would be like, Tammy made calls, and let me tell you what this company did. Because they knew who my husband was, because they knew who he was, they expedited a lot of things. Bill Bradley came to my house. He helped train the team. We backed each other up. He made sure that I was going to be okay. He made sure that even all our policies through Transamerica came through. Let me tell you what Milos, when with Everett, because I had policy through them too. My son created to thank the company. Both really, Everest uses the video. I don't know if they play that at the convention one year. Played a video of what it did, what they did for us. Built a video for Everest, and we even mentioned the companies Transamerica and what WFG did for us to thank them. We were so grateful. That's a lie. Dan, I'm going to tell you this, Dan. How do you think I'm able to maintain some of the things I have here? I mean, I don't have a home like you, Dan, but okay. I saw your home. Okay. But I got a pretty good sized home here in Chesapeake, Virginia, which many, that it's because of the work of WFG, and why I'm able to maintain my lifestyle is because of WFG.
Well, Joanne.
Wow, this is just amazing. This is crazy.
Evelyn, you could take it down.
This is crazy.
I'm sorry that I had to share that with you. But in behalf of WFG, I just wanted to make you aware of that, and I wanted the company to hear the true story. So we appreciate both
Feels
of you
like
guys.
this person disrespected who Joey did for 20 years. Do you understand what he gave to the company? And maybe he may not have been the Hall of Fame guy in the company, but I would think of 20 years of what my husband and I was able to contribute, that we would be respected a lot better than who this person is to do this to me. And now what will my team think if they see it? Has our team seen this?
No one has seen it.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your story. You have my number. And I'm going to share this with WFG. And do I have your permission to share this video?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Dan, I'll say this. It is quite disturbing to see this. Now it's making sense why I've been getting texts and phone calls from people from different, we'll say different hierarchies. And I wasn't sure why my phone's been blowing up even today. I was wondering what's happening here.
Mhm.
Dan, I didn't know about this post until you just showed it. Dan, I know me and Joey weren't the big guys in the company, but I hope you know we gave our all.
Yeah.
I hope you know that. And even if my smallest
WFG loves you. That's why we kept the checks coming in.
So true. Oh,
Dan,
I had to make you laugh.
thank
I
you.
had to make you laugh.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. And be honest with you, just seeing you today, Dan, I'm telling you, it's an honor to even speak to you. For many years, I just admire you from stage. So, and my husband did too. So I just want you to know, thank you for having my back, and please let the home office know that I am forever, when I tell you this, forever grateful for what WFG did. Not only just take care of us financially, it even what they equip me with, because if you knew what I do here in the local area, what it's done for my career here, has done amazing things. And I am so forever grateful. I will always be an ambassador for WFG.
All right, and then, and I know that went a little long, but I wanted you to really feel her heart, because it was the same way when I had a conversation with her last night on the phone. And so she explained into a little bit more detail about some of the confusion. And so apparently, from her side of it, she was saying that she had turned some of the business over to Tammy, who was the girl on the side. And when her and Joey were planning on kind of just retiring and going off into the sunset. And then I guess they got bored and kind of came back. So I just kind of wanted you to hear a little bit about that. And come to find out what was actually happening behind the scenes. And this seems to be kind of the theme of what's going on with Pinnacle and now into GFI, is that Cofield was mentoring Tammy and then apparently was trying to recruit Tammy away from Joanna and to come over to his team. So it just kind of gives a little bit of reference of that Pinnacle vibe. And the reason why I think this is so dangerous, and one of the things that has shocked me the most about the industry, is when things like this happen. I think that in the industry, we as agents do more damage to each other and each other's companies than the clients will ever do. I think it's the crap that they talk about each other. You can go on and find any kind of agency, type in WFG scam or GFI scam or PHP scam or whatever, and you will find 15 agents who are willing to talk crap about another platform and ride the line of saying that it's a scam instead of actually just working on their business and building it up and trying to do a good job. And I think that is horrendous. I hate that kind of stuff. And then to have people who are willing to poach inside of their own company, how disgusting I think that is. It's undescribable to me. And so I think it just kind of goes to the heart of the matter of what's actually happening here. And so I wanted you guys to see that and kind of make your own opinion from that. Sorry, my wife's calling me. And then, so the next thing that we're going to kind of get into and is going to be, there was an announcement from WFG. And so somebody had sent this over to me, and apparently they are updating their heritage program. There's not a lot of information in the paperwork, but it said not for public use. So I didn't want to share it on here. Otherwise I would have put a picture up. But basically coming up next week, they're supposed to be announcing something new with their heritage program. So to give credit to GFI and Eric, apparently there was some things going on. Maybe some things got better. I don't know. But maybe some things needed to change, and Eric's move to help with that. So even if you're a WFG agent, you're staying here, you might need to give some credit to Eric. I know this is causing a lot of disruption. I know even Joanna was saying that a lot of people, I don't know about a lot, but she said there were people inside of her team that were even moving over to GFI. And it's just disheartening. It's tough to spend that much time with people, and then you trust someone and you go do training for them at their office, they come do training for you at your office, and behind the scenes they're talking to your guys and trying to recruit them over to their team behind your back while they're in your office eating your food, drinking your coffee. You guys work for the same company, you think you can trust them, and behind the scenes they're going behind your back to recruit people over from out from underneath you. And then they have the audacity to post stuff on the internet that WFG is doing the wrong thing when they're literally doing all the things that they're saying that WFG is doing wrong. And so anyway, that stuff just, it really bothers me. The comments around ownership, right? And if you read that in any of the documents, that the lawsuits, the cases, you will see they talk a lot about this issue with ownership and do you have ownership? And it's brought up some great topics. And the hard part is I've asked agents what they want, and I haven't gotten a straight answer. They just say, well, I want ownership. And you get the Experior guys who come over. The Experior guys, you guys should be huge. You recruit anywhere and everywhere. You guys are like I don't know, the army or something. You guys are always in the mud fighting it out. So and I loved what they said. They were like, oh, well, you have ownership. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean? They're like, oh, well, you can take your book of business with you. And I'm like, okay. But in Eric's situation, let's say he has 20,000 licensed agents, and he wants to move over. What does he get to take with him? Because there's the overriding aspect of it, and that Eric doesn't write all of that business. If he's got, I don't know, let's say 200 offices of people that are writing business, can he take all of those people's clients? Because then who owns it? Does Eric own it? Does the person who's running the office own it? Does the person who wrote it own it? Like, where does that ownership actually fall? And when you talk to the Experior guys, the ownership is for the writing agent. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great. Ownership is always good. But how does that help somebody like Eric in his situation where he's got 20,000 licensed agents? I would bet 98% of his income doesn't come from his personal pen. You don't make, I don't know, $12 million a year, $1 million a month because you're a great financial. I mean, he's probably great at what he does. I don't know. I've never seen one of his policies, but he's probably not the best person at writing policies. That's not how you get to $1 million a month. You get there because you have a great team who can write. And so if he was to leave, so he would still lose 98% if he's only able to take his clients with him. So I don't know if that fixes the problem either. So the question keeps opening up, well, what do we actually want to do about ownership, especially if you're in a hierarchical structure where there's multiple overrides that go along with that? So how do we remedy that? How do we ask WFG or PHP or any of these companies to fix an issue if we don't even have a solution to give them on what we want? And so to Eric's point is like, how do you fix something if you can't express it? So maybe some things that he's doing will come out and fix this. I don't know. I would still love to see this EMD contract. Every time somebody posts a picture about it, I ask them to send it to me, and nobody has sent it to me yet. But here's kind of what we can see as of now in what they have in that EMD contract. So, let me go back. So Congratulations on getting promoted to Executive Marketing Director with GFI. An Executive Marketing Director promotion qualifies an agent in GFI to have ownership in the form of a conditional, transferable, I can't see that, the income from their GFI business code number. Having ownership in your GFI business code number allows you to vest in a number of legacy benefits as defined in the GFI legacy schedule, and benefits included in GFI's vested ownership. Terms and conditions as maintained by GFI. This also gives you the immediate opportunity to designate a beneficiary to inherit your income interest and vested commissions from your code, and the ability to continue operating your business subject to the terms in the independent contractor agreement. Vesting instructions. Once an agent has been promoted to EMD, they are vested to receive commissions on insurance products when they separate from the company in good standing according to GFI vested ownership terms and conditions. By designating a beneficiary on this form and signing the affirmation below, the EMD agrees to grant GFI the authority to transfer their ownership to the named individual in the event of their death or retirement. GFI will honor this designation provided that legal intervention does not prohibit it. So the challenge there is it sounds a lot like the WFG contract in that you own the code number, which keeps coming back to what is actual ownership. But currently what these companies do is that you own your code, and then if you want to leave, you can either hold on to it and you can draw the income from it. The challenge with that is there's not usually leadership to come in and keep those things going. You can sell your code number for whatever you can sell it to. I don't know if you can sell it to WFG or if you can just sell it to another agent or the combination of the two, or you're supposed to be able to just ride off of the income that you've produced, which was what Joanna was talking about. So maybe in this, maybe something that I'm missing is Cofield wanted something else, and but what was weird is she said that Cofield never even talked to her. So I don't know how she got this information. I don't know if it was through Tammy because they had a relationship and that Cofield was mentoring Tammy. So I don't know if something happened in there and she had mentioned whatever had happened. I don't know. But maybe part of that is Cofield wanted her to have more ownership than she had. But I think the challenge was she had sent a bunch of the business to Tammy to kind of start running things as her and her husband were stepping out of the business. So I don't know. You kind of figure out what you want to believe there and what's going on with that. So there's the EMD contract. I'm still waiting for the actual full contract because I would like to see what they're talking about. It just refers to other documents that we don't have yet. But from what I saw in the GFI contract, it doesn't refer to any of these things about ownership. In fact, the GFI contract says that they own everything. They own what they call customers, but it includes even prospects, which I think is more strict than WFG's. I could be wrong on that. But basically, I don't know if they're running some kind of group system. I know some of the teams do that where you input your prospects into a system and then it has their name, phone number, whatever, and basically that way you can track your work so they can see the leadership in the office can go, okay, you've made your calls, this is where these things are in the process, these are the business that's closing out, so they can help with those things. So my guess is if GFI has something like that, that's probably how they're going to track that. So if you put one of your names into that system, they don't become a client or recruit, GFI is saying they still own those for 2 years. Now, how well that would stand up in a court of law, I don't know. That's debatable. It probably wouldn't be much at all. But the point is that it's still there, and they talk about this ownership, and then I haven't seen it in the contract. So again, anybody has this EMD contract, please send it to me. I would love to report on it and go through it if you have it. So then the last thing that we're really going to cover today is going to be some updates in Eric's case. So if you remember, WFG had asked for a temporary restraining order of Eric because basically what's happening behind the scenes, or this is WFG's claim, is that GFI is coming in and they're saying a lot of these false claims, and they're taking people from WFG, both clients and agents, and moving them over to GFI. That was in Nick's testimony as well. Basically, GFI is going to WFG agents either recruiting them and bringing them and their team over, or they're going underneath them if they don't want to go, recruiting their team from under them and bringing them over, and then saying, hey, you should really come over, otherwise you're going to lose all your income with WFG. So they're kind of being forced to go over. And so in order to help prevent some of that, WFG asked for a temporary restraining order so that Eric couldn't continue to keep asking these questions, and they asked for a restraining order on GFI as well to kind of help slow some of that process. And then fortunately or unfortunately, that temporary restraining order was not granted. So it was actually denied, which I not. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but we'll go through all of that stuff on Monday. And it's good and bad because we see this a lot in the political field as well. The First Amendment, I'm learning, is so important. And we're going to get a little bit off topic, but I think that the First Amendment is so important. I think we take it for granted a lot because when you're, let's play devil's advocate, or let's take Eric's side a little bit. Eric, whether we like to determine it or not, even if he was making $20 million a year, he's still kind of the underdog, right? He's the smaller of the two. And if you think about this in politics, it becomes even more prevalent. But all of the power is with the government, is with big companies. Aegon is not a tiny company, right? Probably, I don't know, $750 billion. So they've got some money to throw around. On the grand scheme of things, Eric is the smaller one in those two. He's not small, but you understand what I'm saying. And the only thing that a small person has, you, me, whoever, when you're going up against somebody else, is your voice. And so that's why the First Amendment is so important, because they can throw everything at you, especially if you're talking about the government. And a lot of what's going on in politics right now is they have all the money, they have all the judges, they have all the laws, they have the ability to put you in jail. Everything else is against you. The one thing that you can have as an American citizen that most people don't have is your voice. And however you feel about what's happening, you have the right to say it. So regardless of what's going on or how I feel about the cases or whatever, I do think that it is important that we maintain that, and that your ability to speak out, whether right, wrong, accurate, it doesn't matter, but your ability to speak is one of the most important aspects that we have in our society, to be able to voice what's going on when you are the underdog. And I think that that's so important. And I think when we take that away, I think that that's dangerous territory to get into. And if you look at a lot of the politics right now, that's what's happening. Your ability to silence your opponent, your ability to silence somebody, I think is huge. And we need to remember how important that First Amendment is in your ability to speak out against things that you disagree with. So anyway, that's the information that we have for today. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the feedback, everybody who's sending me information, both good and bad. I appreciate all of it, and I hope that you guys hold me accountable as well. And if I say something that's inaccurate, tell me, fix it. I'm trying to find the truth here. Again, we're kind of in a position where one side's talking a lot, the other side's not talking at all, and we're trying to figure out what the truth actually is. So I appreciate you guys. Hope this is helpful for you, and whether you're staying with WFG or you're moving to WFG, or you're new to GFI, or you're going to GFI, whatever it might be, I hope this helps you make an educated decision, because it's your livelihood that's on the line. A lot of these guys, Cofield, for example, they're making $1 million a year. That's a big gamble and risk to take, and I just want to make sure that you have the facts with whatever decision it is that you make. So love you guys. Appreciate you. Hope you have a great day. I'll catch you later. Bye.